Hi guys, well Nvidia has just unveiled the new GTX 1660 Ti, and since there will be no Founders Edition, we're going to be focusing on a partner card from ASUS. This here is the Strix GTX 1660 Ti. So yeah, just when we were getting used to the, switching over to the RTX naming system, we're now jumping back to GTX for a revival of the mid-range. Found on the high-end RTX cards, 1660 Ti also benefits from the direct CU3 cooler. This card may not warrant such a top-spec thermal solution, however it should keep those temperatures at bay. This card is also decked out with the typical ROG features like a reinforced frame, Fan Connect 2, 0 decibel fans, and much more. Now, getting pricing before launch for this card was extremely difficult, so please take the following figures just as that ballpark. They could well fluctuate. So in Australia you're looking at around 569, in the UK 300, and again in the US around 300. The MSRP on the series as a whole is going to be around 279 US, so that kind of places it among the 1060, 1070, maybe even the cheapest of the RTX 2060s. And I guess the 1660 Ti is going to be most relevant to those of you who are perhaps currently debating whether to grab that GTX 10 series GPU at the moment or perhaps hold out for something new. Well, today hopefully we're going to be able to assist you in making the best decision. Okay, this is Strix 1660 Ti. You'll see a pattern emerging across the GTX and RTX series with these ROG cards. Each of them look pretty much identical in their appearance, and that is because we have the distinguished direct CU3 cooler which boasts a triple fan design. And as usual, we'll do a deep dive on that solution later on by detaching it from the card. And so the plastic shroud covers the heatsink underneath, and with a neutral design it should match up very well with other hardware. Along the edges there are a number of RGB LEDs, and these can be modified using the GPU Tweak 2 software. Those LEDs are Aura Sync enabled, and so if you have other products with that technology you can manage it all in one place and synchronize. However, if RGB isn't your thing, then you can switch this off altogether via the switch on the back. Now this card is huge in size, and while we don't have a Founders Edition of 1660 Ti, next to the RTX 2060 Founders, you can really weigh up just how big this Strix model is. So we'll just do a quick measurement now, as this will allow those of you who are upgrading to identify if it's going to fit inside your case. Strix 1660 Ti is around about 300mm. For the width you're looking at just over 180, and then the height is 50mm. Now our Strix card has a factory overclock applied to it against the reference settings, and so the base clock is set at 1530, that boosts up to 1890 MHz, and the memory clock operates at 1500 or 12,000 effective, so that's at stock. Now by default the card will be set at the reference settings, and so to utilise the factory overclock you will need to install the GPU Tweak 2 software. Just like the RTX 2060, the 1660 Ti has 6GB of GDDR6, however it doesn't come with any of those RTX features such as real-time ray tracing or DLSS. And some other things just to note is that this card is also PCI Express 3.0 compliant, it is DirectX 12 ready, and it supports OpenGL 4.6. Over on the back side of the card, ROG has included a BIOS switch right next to that LED button. This allows you to shift between quiet mode or performance mode. Now quiet mode is going to activate 0 decibel, while performance alters the fan curve to be a bit more aggressive and have the card running cooler in game. Despite having a large cooler, our GTX 1660 Ti will occupy just 2 spaces on your case, but it may just sneak into another PCI Express as it is technically a 2.5 slotter. And on this back panel we have a selection of 4 video outs on this lovely matte black plate. So we've got 2 DisplayPort 1.4s, those can give you up to 8K at 60Hz. And we also have 2 HDMI 2.0s, and those offer 4K at 60Hz. And so this is ample for multi-monitor use, or even a mixture of monitor and VR headset. To power this graphics card, surprisingly, you only need a 450 watt power supply and an 8-pin connection. As usual, our Strix 1660 Ti also benefits there from those LEDs to tell you whether or not the power cables are properly connected up. They're red there telling you that a cable isn't in correctly. With SLI missing on some of the RTX cards, it's no surprise that we have no SLI functionality on this 1660 Ti either, and so unfortunately we're not going to be able to combine it with more than one GPU. Over on the reverse of the card, we have a large metal backplate, which not only protects that PCB, but it interconnects with a reinforced brace, helping to keep the card robust with zero flex. Now, unlike other Strix cards, this one does not have the RGB ROG logo, but that is no deal breaker. Right guys, well, we've taken the cooler off our Strix 1660 Ti, and here is the thermal solution. This will be familiar, as after all, it is the Direct CU3 cooler. Now this uses a trio of Axial Tech fans rather than the wing blade design that we saw on the Strix 2060. These fans are actually the same as we find on the RTX 2080 Ti. And while they offer the same decibel rating, they deliver higher airflow and pressure. And as expected, these fans will stop spinning in 0 decibel mode or quiet mode if the GPU is under that 55-degree mark. These fans sit on top of this huge double heatsink, which uses the ASUS Max Contact technology. Since we have removed the heatsink, we can also get a glimpse of the inner workings of GTX 1660 Ti as well. Now, across the board, we have the inclusion of Super Alloy Power 2 components, with the reappearance of the 8+2 phase design that ROG are using on many of their cards. And so we have highly efficient and more reliable caps, chokes, and MOSFETs. And then towards the end of that PCB, we have 2 fan headers along with an RGB header. These will allow you to connect up any case fans which are in the same area as the card, and what that means is that when the card needs that extra cooling, those fans will react and they're going to spin faster. And as per usual, the other thing to note is that our card benefits from Auto Extreme, so the construction is entirely automated, which means that everything is designed with the absolute precision. So at the heart of our GTX 1660 Ti is NVIDIA's TU116. So although we are dealing with GTX here, that uses a 12nm process and is based on the new Turing architecture, just like the RTX cards. And so this GPU and the 6GB of GDDR6 means that it's destined for either 1080p or 1440p, going head to head with the GTX 1070. So we know what this card is all about on paper, but what about the performance? Well, next we're going to be putting this GPU against the GTX 1070, and more specifically the Gigabyte GTX 1070 OC. And we'll be benchmarking a number of games in 1080p with maximum detail preset. Now in the full review on Vortez.net, we'll be looking at 1440p, other popular games, and comparing the Strix card to a stack of other GPUs, so be sure to check out that in the description. And while we check out these games, we're also going to have GPU-Z running in the background to pick up on the peak GPU temperature. So we'll jump out of our last game for that. Okay, and if we just come out of our last game, we can check out the temperature, and there you have it. Alright, well that is the 1660 Ti courtesy of the ROG team. So where do we start? Well, this card here has the same memory capacity as the 1060, albeit GDDR6 this time, which is much faster. However, we are dealing with new architecture and a higher GPU boost, which translates to the 1660 Ti trouncing the 1060 in every gaming title. And in fact, it's the 1070 which is a much more exciting comparison, which is why we used it in our performance demonstration a little earlier. Now, with the remaining stock of the GTX 10 series, pricing means that the 1070 is going to be around the similar price point to the 1660 Ti. Ti may even be slightly less in some cases, really depends on the card. So if you're upgrading from the GTX 9 series, you're a 1080p gamer, this is going to offer you a good upgrade path. If you're using a 1060, 1660 Ti, again, going to offer you great performance, 20 to 40 extra frames per second. But if you are using a 1070, then there honestly is not a lot of difference, as you've seen. So in terms of what the ROG team offer in this 1660 Ti, it has that well-respected cooler which offers excellent performance in terms of low noise and low temps. It has the RGB integration, fan connect, and a factory overclock. Now we are going to be sticking a poll on this video, so let us know if you had the choice. Would you grab the 1060, 1070, or this new 1660 Ti? Just click the link in the corner there for that poll. So that completes today's video, guys. Be sure to check out the full review for a look at our best manual overclock, just to see how much headroom there is in this card to squeeze out extra performance. We'll also have more benchmarks, more games, comparing it to other AMD cards and Nvidia cards. The link for that is going to be on the screen and in the description. Thanks very much for taking time out of your day to watch, guys. Be sure to subscribe for more of the same, and I'll catch you guys next time.